The air crackled with static as Dr. Petra Raymond pressed her trembling palm against the activation pad. Above her, the teleportation arch hummed, its cobalt light bathing Petra's face in an unsettling glow. For everyone else in New Seattle, instant travel had become as routine as breathing. For Petra, the arch meant something else entirely, a boundary, not just between two places, but between realities. Lab alarms chirped, hollow screens blinked in warning. "You ready, Petra?" called Andre, her research partner, voice tight with expectation. She nodded, swallowing her nerves. "As much as I'll ever be. Double-check the containment field. I'm taking the probe through in 30. The project had started as a wild idea. What if teleport arches could glimpse the quantum space between destinations? Petra had pioneered the experiment, pushing further than anyone dared. Now the probe, coded Vector 7, was poised to jump, not just through space, but through probability itself. She initiated the protocol. A sapphire wave rippled across the arch as Vector 7 vanished into swirling distortion. The data feed sputtered lines of impossible code. "That's..." Andre's brow knitted in worry. "It's not the data we were expecting." The lights flickered. The room vibrated as if the building itself gasped. Then came the rupture, a staggering crack that split the air, rippling the fabric of the lab, while Petra stared in shock as another lab, her lab, but subtly wrong, flickered into existence, overlaying the walls and floor like a ghost. A second Petra stood mere meters away, eyes as wide as her own. "What is happening?" Andre shouted, backing away as the two Petras gaped at each other, terror and scientific curiosity warring in their faces. The second Petra spoke, voice eerily familiar, yet laced with a bruised desperation. "We've opened the passage. It's begun." Overhead, the arch howled, the room filling with shards of possibilities. Petra's mind raced. She was the one who'd pushed the boundaries, and now reality itself was splintering apart. The fate of her world and all others hung on what she did next. The two Petras stared at each other, breaths catching in the moment. On Petra's side of the rift, alarms shrieked, a background wail that barely registered above the pounding of her heartbeat. On the other side, the lab's layout flickered. Same arch, different tech, older coffee stain on the counter. Andre stepped forward, hands raised. "This is unreal. Petra, is she—" "I think she's me," Petra whispered, transfixed. She addressed her double. "Who are you?" The other Petra cast wild glances about, as if seeking help from ghosts in her own world. "I'm the one who failed to stop this. The convergence spreads across my city, buildings overlapping, people vanishing. You have to listen. All our realities are colliding." Petra pressed her lips together, determination rising above her fear. "How did it start? Did you send a probe, too?" The double shook her head, a haunted look shadowing her face. "No probe. We pushed the arch's power and something took hold. It's alive, Petra. Not a person, but a purpose. If we don't seal the quantum passage, none of us will survive." A klaxon hammered overhead. Andre pulled Petra aside, voice hoarse. "You hear that? Containment field dropping fast. The arch is bleeding energy. We'll blow the whole block if we don't shut it down." Petra's hand hovered over the console, but her other self grabbed her wrist. "Wait! If you close it now, you'll strand me, and I have information, a way to stabilize the breach, but only if we work together." Andre looked between them, dread in his eyes. "So what's the play, Petra? Save one world, or gamble on fixing them all?" Petra's mind whirled, but her decision was already forming. "Both," she said. "Give me what you know. Andre, hold containment as long as you can. If we're going to stop this, we'll need every version of me we can find, and every answer the other worlds can offer." As the arch's light grew brighter, darkness licked the room's corners. Petra grabbed a data pad, her double accessing a memory drive. Side by side, they prepared for a fight that stretched across infinity, with only the slimmest chance of sealing the rift before it consumed everything. The arch's unstable light carved jagged shadows across the lab. As Petra's double-transmitted files, fragments of equations, quantum interference logs, Petra's own mind raced through the possibilities. Two universes were now entwined, but Petra sensed the passage pulling at more. Andre tapped through containment settings, curse words tumbling under his breath. Field holding for now. But the power drain is off the charts. We have maybe 20 minutes, then it's collapse or critical overload. We need a plan. Fast, Petra muttered, downloading data onto her tablet. She turned to her alternate, urgency lighting her eyes. What's next? How do we reach the others, if there are more? The other Petra adjusted a makeshift relay she'd brought, a jury-rigged piece of tech with burn marks across one side. This can scan for quantum echoes. Every time another arch flickers into sync, we'll detect it, but it's risky. Each sync draws one reality closer to merging. Before Petra could reply, the arch shimmered again. The floor trembled. For an instant, the room split into dozens of overlapping forms, a kaleidoscope of realities. Shouts echoed, some familiar, others foreign. Petra glimpsed herself in a lab coat splattered with paint, another with scars down her jaw, yet another in tactical armor. Each version blinked in and out, bringing flashes of anxiety, resolve, hope. One voice cut through the chaos, harsh, commanding. I'm Petra Raymond, Security Command Earth 9. If you're Prime, you're the target. The arch crawlers are coming. Get ready. The image snapped away as the arch spit sparks. The two Petras staggered, while Andre shielded his eyes. Did you see that? Andre gasped. Some of you look like you've done this before and survived. Petra steadied herself, her heart beating like a drum. They're warnings. Allies, maybe, but something predatory is chasing them. Chasing us. We stabilize the breach, or we're not just fighting for our own Earth. We're the front line for them all. A deep rumble shook the foundation, and the arch's distortion deepened to an oily purple-black pulse. Petra braced herself against the console, staring into the swirling rift. For the first time, she glimpsed something looking back. A writhing, shifting mass inside the passage itself. She set her jaw. We're not just scientists anymore. We're fighting for reality. Let's get to work. The synthetic wind of the lab vents felt colder now, edged with the unnatural chill from the arch. Petra's knuckles whitened as she gripped the console, eyes snapping between the quantum echo relay and the writhing, dark pulse just beyond the rift. Andre's voice was tight and fast. The field's dropping again. 17 minutes, max? Should I call Central Security? Tape off the streets? Petra shook her head. No. If word gets out, panic will set in. We're on our own. Her double finished patching the relay, and the screen flickered to life. A web of glowing points appeared. Versions of the teleport arch, flickering across dozens of realities, blinking closer, pulled toward the gap, whether they wanted to be or not. A feed stabilized. Another Petra, hair buzzed short, face marked by a white scar, appeared, her voice low and steady. Earth 13, the anomalies invaded our city center, survival rates below 20%. My Petra, are you out there? Prime Petra stepped forward, face pale but resolute. I'm here. We're working on a way to seal the passage, but we can't do this alone. What's attacking you? Scarred Petra's eyes darted sideways, something catching her attention off-screen. Not what? Who? The passage is using us, pulling our minds into the overlap. If we don't act, all our worlds will collapse into one, and none of them will survive. Listen. The screen erupted into static. Petra's hand hovered over the relay, willing the connection back. Her own double whispered, We're running out of time. If the passage manipulates our minds, we'll have more than just physical chaos to fight. Close your eyes and listen. Focus on the true signals. Trust yourself. Petra obeyed, breathing deep, shutting out the alarms and the reality-warping chaos. In the stillness, she felt it, a thrum of information in her thoughts, unfamiliar but hauntingly hers, a memory of a fail-safe, an anti-entropy algorithm she'd abandoned as impossible months ago. She snapped her eyes open. Andre, I need full system access, all security overrides. He hesitated. You think you can outcode reality? Petra allowed herself a tight, uncertain smile. No, but together, I think we can trick it, close the passage with something it isn't expecting. As Andre keyed in the codes and the relay flickered with more desperate echoes from other worlds, Petra realized. For the first time, she wasn't the only Petra driving the solution. This battle would take all of them. And if they didn't grow stronger by learning from each other, the cost would be everything. Petra's fingers worked furiously on the keyboard, sweat beading her brow. Andre hovered behind her, reading lines of code and system logs as she pulled up dusty, half-finished programs. ghosts of abandoned ideas. Her double watched in tense silence, lips pursed in concentration. "Keep the sync stable," Petra muttered, glancing between her double and Andre. "If the algorithm's going to work, we need to thread it through every arch in contact." Andre nodded, shunting power from emergency reserves to buy them precious minutes. "Systems online. What's the trick?" Petra's voice was low, urgent. "Entropy, disorder. The passage thrives on predictable input but hates unpredictability. We'll use my original failsafe. Randomize the quantum flow, force it to destabilize and collapse on itself." Her double entered data into the relay, patching in alternate Petras as connections flickered in and out. "We're ready on Earth 7. Our Petra says chaos is the answer too. She's already set her arch to resonance." A burst of static blared as yet another Petra's voice, trembling with fear and hope, joined. "Earth 4 here. Warning, the passage is pushing back. We're seeing temporal echoes. Our next moves are reflected back at us. Watch your own screens." As the relay widened, Petra could see dozens of herself, each bringing new solutions, each battling unique threats, some crumbling but others holding steady. Voices overlapped, shouted strategy, shared data, and rallied fear into courage. For the first time, Prime Petra felt the odds shift just a bit. The underdog was not alone. Each Petra contributed, refining code, transmitting signals, running calculations over their own archways. Across realities, a network was forming, a tapestry woven from all their wills to survive. But then, the darkness from the passage surged, and Prime Petra's monitors flooded with warped text. "You cannot uncross the boundary." Andre recoiled. "It's talking to us?" Petra steeled herself. "No, it's trying to break us. Keep going." The lab shook, a poltergeist wind threatening to tear the room apart. But Petra, her double, and every echo of herself stayed locked at their stations. As the entropy algorithm compiled, Petra gritted her teeth, whispering to herself and her alternates, "We are unpredictable. We are more than one." Hope glimmered at the edge of chaos. But the passage wasn't done fighting, and their patchwork alliance would be put to the true test. Together, or not at all. The lab quaked as the rift pulsed. Petra's monitor flashed with a dozen error codes, each a garbled cry from another world. Next to her, Andre braced himself, sweat running from his temples as he watched the entropy algorithm's chaotic progress. On the flickering relay, voices of alternate Petras collaged the air, some shrill, some barely audible over the static. It struck Petra with sudden clarity. Each of them was terrified, each improvising, and all counting on a solution no single Petra could reach alone. "Chaos compiled at 16%, Andre called out, voice straining under pressure. "But the passages?" The darkness flared, arcs of impossible shadow leaping from the arch. Petra gasped, her mind convulsed, flashes of other memories, not hers but those of a Petra who'd lost everything, another who'd abandoned hope. For a second she felt herself slipping, her sense of self fragmenting among the Petric chorus. Her double caught her. "Focus! Don't let it use your own doubts. Anchor yourself." Andre growled. "Petra, we're about to lose power in the West End. 10 minutes max." With effort, Petra steadied her hands over the keys. She forced herself to remember. Family dinners, the spray of salt off Puget Sound, Andre's awful off-key singing. Suddenly, the noise inside her cleared just enough to work. On the relay, the scarred Petra's voice returned, cracked but determined. "Passage tried to split my mind too. You have to accept the others. Don't fight, synchronize. That's the only way to finish the algorithm." Petra's voice trembled as she addressed her alternates. "All of us together, accept the mess. Feed your entropy routines into the mainstream, now." A shimmering light rippled along the arch, colors shifting in wild, unpredictable waves. One by one, alternate Petras and their realities patched into the combined signal, each surge of chaos making the passage howl and shudder. But just as hope was rising, a cold, calculating voice pressed through the rift. "You have learned nothing. I will consume the crossroads." Petra's jaw set, her fear replaced by defiance. She knew it now. The only way through was not alone, but many. With seconds ticking down, she prepared for the last phase. Every identity and lesson shared between the worlds, forging her into something new. They were out of time, but not out of fight. The lab was an uproar of flickering lights and errant shadows. Petra keyed the last line of code into her console, while Andre recalibrated the power banks, his hands shaking yet steady. The relay streamed the faces of Petric counterparts. Wild-eyed, battered, some weeping, some determined. Scarred Petra barked, "Algorithm at 87%. The passage is fracturing, it's working, but the strain is killing us on this side." Andre shouted, "Containment's buckling. The arch will burn out in 3 minutes." Prime Petra looked at her double. "If we throw the full entropy surge now, we might lose each other forever. If we wait, we might lose everything." Her double nodded grimly. "This is the only shot. I'm proud of us." Petra forced a smile. "You too. All of you." She tapped a control, connected the network, and her own voice overlapped with dozens more. "Prepare for the flood. On my mark. Now." A wave of raw, beautiful chaos surged through the arch. All across the relay, the archways on every earth glowed with unpredictable color, scenes and memories flowing freely, bits of every Petra's life, loss, and resolve intertwining, cascading into the breach. The passage writhed, its oily darkness splintering against the storm of entropy. For the first time, the predatory voice retreated, replaced by a sound like 1,000 realities cheering in unison. But then, just as the fracture seemed to stabilize, the arch's power core roared beyond its limits. Sparks burst from the walls, systems overloaded, and Andre yelled, "Back! Everybody back!" A shockwave slammed through the lab. Petra was thrown to the floor, her vision a kaleidoscope of places, faces, and feelings not entirely her own, each a thread in the growing tapestry of possible selves. Andre crawled to her side, gasping. "Are we still here?" Petra blinked, struggling to center her thoughts. "I don't know yet." The relay flickered, stabilizing. Most of the alternate Petras faded from view, leaving only scarred Petra, her double, and a handful of others. The passage contracted but still throbbed, wounded but alive. Petra sat upright, brushing dust from her coat. "We heard it, but we didn't finish it. That last phase, the convergence, it left a mark on me, on all of us." Her double nodded, eyes haunted. "If we're going to close this, we need to go beyond the arch, into the passage itself." Andre balked. "You want to step into that thing?" Petra's mouth set with new resolve. "We have to, or nothing we've done will matter. The underdogs just made it to the final round." The arch's glow was weaker now, yet the shadows it cast danced and twisted with teasing intent. Petra's breaths came in sharp, measured bursts as she climbed to her feet. On the battered relay, only 4 Petric faces remained. Prime, Scarred, her double, and one with kind eyes who hadn't spoken much but looked braver than all the rest. Andre wiped a trickle of blood from his brow. "If you go in, can you even get back out?" Petra steadied her shaking hands. "That's not the right question. The real question is, can we survive if I don't?" Her double adjusted the last quantum settings, voice trembling but strong. "We'll need anchors, something to hold on to, our own core memories. Otherwise, the passage will tear us apart." Scarred Petra nodded and produced a battered locket, clutching it to her chest. "Hope is an anchor where I'm from. Use whatever you have." Prime Petra looked at Andre. He hesitated, then handed her a faded photo from inside his wallet. Petra and Andre years ago, young and laughing beside a sprawling sea. "Find your way back. Give us all a chance." Petra, her double, and the remaining Petras faced the arch. The passage inside churned, a gut-twisting blend of color, darkness, and impossible geometry. Together they stepped through. The world dissolved. Petra tumbled in staccato flashes, her first scientific breakthrough, her worst mistake, warmth from reaching her mother's hand. Each version of herself flickered beside her. Memories collided, pain and triumph merging. The passage hissed, a voice ripped from everywhere and nowhere. "You have no dominion. You are fragments. You are weak." Petra gripped the photo tighter and let the words roll off. "We're not fragments. Not anymore." She felt her consciousness align with her other selves, choices and hopes interlacing. Scarred Petra's hope, her double's relentless logic, the quiet Petra's compassion, each became a lifeline. At the passage's core, reality bent around a singular point, a swirling wound, leaking alternate Earth's colors into oblivion. "This is it," Prime Petra whispered. "We seal the source, or none of us go home." Her double spoke for them all. "Let's end this." With every ounce of willpower, the group forced their memories and chaos-born unity into the wound, bracing for either salvation or annihilation. The fate of all worlds teetered on the edge of their courage, in a space where even time itself shuddered at their resolve. Petra's senses blurred as the rift's core pressed fear and longing into every atom of her being. Colors erupted from the singular wound, a dizzying rush of memories and mistakes from hundreds of possible lives. She could feel her alternate selves beside her, pulses weaving together in a chorus of raw defiance. The passage howled, its voice fracturing from command to desperate plea. You cannot undo what is already won. Collapse is order. Disunity is chaos. Scarred Petra's voice thundered in the swirl. You're wrong. Chaos is hope. Unity is choice. Their hands pressed forward, real and metaphysical, threading memories and dreams into the roiling wound. The passage spasmed and struck back. Petra's body spasmed, flashes of childhood fears and future failures crashing over her. For a moment she felt herself slipping, losing the anchor of who she was. The quiet Petra reached out, her compassion pulsing through the group. We're still here, Petra. Remember the laughter, the stubbornness, every stubborn step. Clarity surged in Petra. In the tumble of inner worlds she imagined Andre's voice, steady, human, full of unpolished hope. We outlasted the impossible before. Just one more time. Flaring light tore across their vision as the wound split wider. Threads of alternate memories, love, regret, discovery, coiled into the entropy pulse they'd built on the other side. When unity threatened to shatter, they let unpredictability kill the pattern, forcing the passage to adapt. It hesitated, faltered, fighting itself. Prime Petra gathered every memory, hers, theirs, binding individuality into a jagged, beautiful whole. We are chaos and order. We are many and we choose. Suddenly the rift began to contract. The wound's colors whisked back, folding space and memory into a single, surging point. But the force at the heart of the passage lashed out with one last effort, snapping at Petra's mind. Her double screamed, nearly torn from the group. The other Petras gripped her mental hand. Don't you let go. You're more than one mistake. You matter. The group united, pulling their double back by the power of empathy, memory, and sheer stubbornness. The wound dimmed, the chorus of the passage breaking apart under the surge of unpredictable humanity. The rift shrank. Petra felt herself falling back, all possible futures whirling behind her. They weren't done. Not yet. A final leap remained. On the brink between worlds, every Petra steeled herself. The closing act of chaos would require the bravest step of all, letting go. The passage's heart shrank to a fragile pinpoint, flickering with the memories, hopes, and flaws of every Petra. Darkness still whispered threats in a tongue older than fear, but its power was failing. With each pulse of unity and unpredictability, the rift shuddered, desperate to endure. Prime Petra, battered and trembling, found herself standing among her alternates at the edge of everything. Their faces were familiar yet changed. Scarred Petra's jaw set in fierce determination, her double's eyes wet with renewal. The quiet Petra's smile calm and undaunted. Andre's voice echoed in Petra's mind, a memory and a beacon. Come home. Petra realized the only way to close the passage for good was to relinquish control, to trust the unpredictable web they'd woven. She looked to her alternates, each silently understanding. They must let go of their hold on the wound and surrender to what would come next. It's time, Prime Petra said quietly. Scarred Petra grinned, broken but whole. We faced oblivion. Whatever's next, it's ours. With a single shared breath they loosened their grip, memories, pain, and possibility flowing freely into the rift. For an instant the darkness tried to seize them, clutching for any pattern or weakness. But the chaos Petra had built, petty decisions, minor rebellions, stubborn joys, were ungraspable. A blinding surge of light, the passage screamed, then shattered. Time and space for a beat hung silent. Petra felt herself hurled through possibility, then landed hard, alone, gasping on the cold lab floor. Monitors flickered. The arch stood dark and silent. Andre rushed to her side, clutching her, overjoyed. You made it, he whispered, unable to hide tears. Petra, is it over? She looked up, senses clearing. The dimensions had settled. Just one new Seattle. Just one Andre, alive and real. But in Petra's mind every other self lingered, echoes of resilience and hope she'd never forget. On her desk lay Andre's wrinkled photo, and a battered locket that hadn't been there before, tokens from lives that once intersected. Petra stood slowly, meeting Andre's gaze. We're here, together, and I think we always will be in some way. Outside the lab, the city buzzed, oblivious to how close it had come to unraveling. Petra allowed herself to hope. She'd paid the highest cost, learned the hardest lesson, that even the smallest, messiest parts of herself were her greatest strength. And as the world righted itself, Petra walked forward, ready to build a future from the wreckage. A future shaped, finally, by the best chaos of all, humanity.